Hello, welcome back to Bet Builders. I'm Statman Dave, and today I'm joined by Adam McKola to preview all the action in Game Week 9 in the Premier League. Of course, we'll be rolling through all of our bets. We're going to be building some bets. It's going to be very, very exciting, so stay tuned to that. Of course, if you're going to back any of our bets, please gamble responsibly. First up, though, Adam, question for you. Welcome to the show. Can Manchester United still win the Premier League?
Hell yes, Dave.
I like it.
21's coming. I've told everybody already.
It's going down. Well, today we're going to be talking about a number of things. Manchester United, of course, a hot topic. Jack Grealish, Guardiola versus Mourinho, and Bruno Fernandes. Again, if you want to check out some more bets, go over to freesupertips.com and check those out over there. Last week we had a good week where Rory got 4 bets correct. Twice as many as FST and me managed combined. Adam, you can beat that though.
He's absolutely smashed it, but you know what? I'm the bad boy bet builder. I am here to take Rory's crown. It's that simple.
First up, we're going to talk about Newcastle versus Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, spent big in the transfer window, £182 million. We're starting to see a bit of a team emerge now, but do you think Lampard's been kind of lucky with the backing that he's got?
I don't think he's been lucky. I think if you're a team that wants to win trophies and wants to win titles, like Chelsea are, you're going to back your manager to do that. As a Manchester United fan, you look at it and you think, how you've been lucky, like, because if Oli could have had those kind of, figures to spend, then he would have probably be doing a little bit better at this time. But Chelsea are always going to be at the top end of the table when it comes to spending money. We know Roman Abramovich has got the money there to spend. So it puts a lot of pressure onto Frank Lampard. I've not been convinced by him as a manager. But, when you've got players like that are helping you a little bit, and it can take the pressure off. And you see some of these games over the last couple of weeks have been really tight, and then one of their star names will pull it out the bag. So I think, they've got a good team, and the backing that Lampard's been given could possibly help him save his job. It
really could. The 3-0 win against Burnley, the 4-1 against Sheffield United last time out. In terms of Newcastle, they've been a bit strange in a way where they performed well. The last time out, they lost 2-0 to Southampton. Is anyone in that Newcastle squad you look at and you think that guy can cause Chelsea problems?
I think there's a number of players that you look at and think they can cause problems. Callum Wilson obviously is going to be the biggest threat with the goals that he's got. But I think Alan Saint-Maximin obviously is massive. And Almiron's like, you look at him sometimes and you think, what are you doing? Or you just feel sorry for him. But I think it's that little bit of madness that he has sometimes can cause problems, especially on the break. So I do think they are well set up to hit them on the break and try and get a goal and keep it 0-0, shut up shop and get that goal on the break. And with it being the early kickoff, we know what happens to people's bets. They put all their bet on, they put their favourite on in the first bet, come through.
Done.
Bet's gone.
Over. Well,
bet's gone.
Let's take a look at your bet then, Adam, because, last time out, Newcastle did actually beat Chelsea at St James's Park, and you've got Newcastle to win under 3 goals in the game at 14-1.
What's that mean?
You're backing yourself.
1-0 Newcastle, Callum Wilson.
Okay, I like that.
You could even just put all them on there if you want. But
yeah, no, I think under 3 goals is a good bet. Newcastle at home are defensively very, very solid. So, no, I think that's a nice bet, and at 14-1, that is a great price. Let's take a look at my bet. I've gone kind of the other way. More slightly defensive. Chelsea, Ziyech anytime. Hakim Ziyech.
He's looking good, isn't he? He's looking good. I know
good player.
We bought his teammate from Ajax as well in Donny van der Beek, and hopefully, look, Ziyech never came into the team straight away. Hopefully Donny can do the same thing. But yeah, Ziyech is looking good, man.
Looking very good. Since he made his full Premier League debut, he's created more big chances in the league than any other player. But I'm backing him to score. I think he's the type of player with Newcastle sitting deep, long shot opportunities, great from range. And I'm going to back Chelsea over 2 goals. I think because of last time, I'm kind of opposite. Because last time it was kind of like a bit of a turgid game. I think it might open up the flood doors. And I think if Newcastle concede early, Chelsea, like Manchester United did with all the pace and
I think if they concede early, yes. My thinking is it's going to be 0-0 for a long time.
I can't wait for
It's going to be 0-0 for a long time. Callum Wilson's going to score a penalty.
So let's take a look at Free Super Tips bet as well. Where have they gone in this game? They've gone Chelsea to win, both teams to score, Werner anytime and Wilson anytime. So they're kind of backing your Callum Wilson to score on penalties, as you mentioned. How impressed have you been with Wilson this season?
I think he went in there and he was a lot of money. And you fear for them because he's had a few injuries as well. If those injuries come back, you've kind of wasted the money. But I think you know what you're going to get out of him when he's fit. He's a physical presence. He's got pace. He can finish. And I think he's exactly what they needed. If you look at them over the last couple of years, they've spent a lot of money on strikers, Joe Linton and all these guys. They've not delivered. Here's someone that will.
Premier League proven as well. Timo Werner to score, quite like that bet. Seeming to come into a little bit of form. Took him a few games to adjust.
Did it look great for Germany in the last game?
Yeah, Germany didn't look great as a whole.
This isn't a big game though, so it might be Timo Werner's pocket, eh?
Absolutely. Next to the Midlands for Aston Villa versus Brighton. Brighton seem to outplay teams. If you look at the XG in a lot of their games, they win the XG battle. But that's what we know. XG's a load of rubbish. It doesn't mean goals, does it, Adam?
We've got into the second game and we're already talking about XG. But now you are right about Brighton. I think it's one of the things I was thinking when we were talking about Chelsea. I was thinking back to that Brighton game when Brighton played Chelsea. It was, I think it ended with 3-0, was it?
3-0, yeah.
But it didn't look like a 3-0 game. I thought Brighton were really good against United. 3-2 penalty after the final whistle and all that. Like, they've been so unlucky. I don't think their points really reflect their performances, and you'd expect them to start picking up wins soon.
For sure. Aston Villa are a team, obviously, that have picked up a lot of wins in the Premier League this season.
Killing it.
7-2 against Liverpool, 3-0 against Arsenal last time out. Jack Grealish, best player in the Premier League for you, Adam?
So argument, he could be right now on form. I think he's one of them, possibly the best. But just forget about the best or not the best. He's such a supreme talent. He's a mercurial talent. He's a talent that I've been speaking about having him at Old Trafford for ages. And I think now we're starting to see why one of the bigger boys should have. I know Villa are a big club historically, but at the moment they're not. And one of the big boys should have went in there and got Jack Grealish. And he could be huge for Villa this season, especially if they keep going how they are. And then if he has a big Euros next year, you're looking 100 million plus at Jack Grealish, ain't you?
That's the problem, new deal as well at the start of the season. You're thinking Arsenal could do with Jack Grealish, 4 goals and 5 assists.
Arsenal can't afford Jack Grealish.
But what I'm saying there is if Arsenal, if he was in the Arsenal team last time out,
why would you go to a team from a European Cup winner to one that ain't even got one?
Well, you make a great point. Are you going to back Aston Villa in your bet though, Adam? That is the real question, because we're going to build our bets right now. Aston Villa to Grealish to score any time, so you're backing your man.
I was going to go Watkins to score, but I just feel Grealish has been grabbing all the headlines in the last couple of weeks, and he usually thrives off that. So I think he's going to bag another one.
No, I like that. Again, for England, kind of left out, kind of not left out. A little bit of a weird vibe with Gareth Southgate. I quite like that. I think Grealish is going to be hungry. Let's take a look at my bet. I'm kind of going the same way, but I'm going with Watkins, not Grealish. I think Villa to win to 0 as well. Defensively, they've got 4 clean sheets in the Premier League this season. I think it's going to be another one up against Brighton. Again, Brighton kind of misfiring in the Premier League. I've gone with Watkins because I think, look, he's a good finisher. He takes his chances. And you look at what Jack Grealish is doing creatively, and then you look at Ross Barkley as well.
He's killing it.
Last 2 games, 10 chances created, more than any other player in the league. I just think the guys that can feed Watkins is why I've gone with Watkins to score.
That's massive for Villa as well, because last season it was almost Grealish creates everything and their strikers usually missed it.
Yeah.
Now they've got a player that will score it, but also Barkley in the middle that occupies other defenders and midfielders and gives Jack Grealish even more space. I wouldn't be surprised if Watkins scores.
No, I quite like that bet. Let's take a look at free super tips bet builder as well. They've gone Aston Villa to win the game, so that is through the whole 3 of us. They've got both teams to score as well, back in Brighton to grab a goal, and then Watkins any time. It's kind of
I like that though, because Brighton are a good side and they're playing well. It wouldn't surprise me even if they won this game. But if they don't win, Dave, are you worried for them?
I am. There's a few teams I'm worried for. West Brom, I'm worried for Sheffield United. And I think if Brighton continue to not put the ball in the back of net, you can't keep on playing well and not winning. Simple as that in the Premier League.
100%.
It is time for game of the weekend. Spurs versus Manchester City. Bit of a weird one.
I thought it was going Man United, West Brom.
That's the second best game of it's going to be a very one-sided that one. But in terms of this one, of course, it's Pep Guardiola versus Jose Mourinho. We've seen Clásicos, Manchester derbies, Champions League semi-finals, and that feels a bit weird with Man City versus Spurs.
2 of the smallest teams in the Premier League by 2 of the biggest managers in the world. It's incredible, isn't it?
It's very, very strange.
No, but remember when we had Mourinho? And we used to jokingly say to Spurs fans, would you swap? And they'd be like, are you stupid? And now look at them. It's incredible.
They're looking good, to be fair. What have you made of Man City?
It's weird because they've spent a lot of money in certain places over the years, but you look at their squad and you still feel like something's missing.
Yeah.
Like the defence doesn't seem to have it. I know they brought Ake and they brought Diaz, who I think is a very good signing for them from Benfica. But something's just not quite right. And I think the thing for them is leadership, experience, that winning mentality, and they lost a lot of that over the last couple of years. And then they've lost David Silva in the last summer. So I think it's that experience and that nous that they're missing more than the quality or the talent. And we see the way Pep works. He don't normally get to this stage with any club Could it be fatigue, like over a longer period with the style of play that he plays?
Well, he's never, like you're saying, he's never really moved the team on. Like he's never gone, okay, like a Fergie team where it's like, you've got to get rid of a Rooney, you've got to get rid of a big star. And what's next? Because you look at like last season, Phil Foden could have played a lot more. Bernardo Silva could have played central midfield, but he's playing David Silva still. You're looking at Aguero as well. Like they probably should have just gone out and gone with a striker. And Dybala was free last summer, would have been perfect for Pep's system. I worry about them, I really do, long term, and I worry about Pep. But Mourinho and Spurs, they're again a very, very strange side. This season they've been battering teams, but recently been grinding out results. Do you think that puts them as title challengers, or is that too early to say?
I think this season is going to be so open, and it's why. I know I keep reflecting to United again, but it's why I'm so frustrated about some of the drop points we have, because the season's going to be so tight. I think anyone can literally win it. So I think Spurs are well up there.
It's a Leicester season, isn't it?
You've got Harry Kane.
For sure. Yeah.
And look, all due respect to him, we may think Jose's finished or not, but he knows how to win a league title. And I think if it got to the nitty gritty where he needed to get a result, he'd probably get them. So let's talk about it in March, but I think they very possibly could be up there.
It's a scary time, isn't it? Let's take a look at the bets anyway. Let's dive into the bet builders. First up, we've got your bet. You've got to draw both teams to score. Very defensive on the back foot, but I kind of like it.
I went Man City first, and then I thought, you got Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, Son. It's hard to go against that. So I kind of feel it might be a Desmond. A little 2-2. Yeah.
Last season at the Etihad, the score was 2-2. But in terms of just looking at Jose versus Mourinho in the 23 games they've played.
Jose versus Pep.
Sorry, Jose versus Pep. There you go. Jose versus
Sometimes
Pep.
It feels like he's playing against himself.
He does. Sometimes he just really does. Yeah, crazy stuff. But there's been 11 wins for Pep, 6 draws and 6 wins for Jose. So I think a draw could be a pretty decent result there. Let's take a look at my bet. Again, I've completely sat on the fence and gone with goal scorers. Raheem Sterling, who scored at the Etihad last season, but also Harry Kane. So I've gone with Harry Kane, not because he's got a good record against City, because he's got a really bad record against City. He scored 6 goals in 8 games against City in the Premier League.
That's a bad record?
For Harry Kane. So he's only scored fewer goals against Cardiff City, Sheffield United, and one other team that is escaping me, Middlesbrough. So that's a bad record for Harry Kane. I think he's going to set it right. How good he is,
doesn't it?
Because this season he's flying, right? He's absolutely flying.
For me, especially with Aguero's injuries, and he's the best striker in the league.
Absolutely.
We're looking at right there.
I think even with Aguero, I think he's still the best striker. But this season.
Yeah. I agree. And he's become that over, and he's adding things to his game.
The assists, 8 assists
dropping into that hole and being able to play. Reminds me of the old Teddy Sheringham a little bit with some of the things that he does.
Nice.
But I can't look at that and that without thinking, why the hell didn't he square it?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Free Super Tips bet builder for this game. They've got Man City double chance draw. Both teams to score on over 2.5. So they're kind of seeing it as a good game of football, which I think we all want. And I think that City is so open.
But these are the games for Spurs. They look poor against the poor teams.
Yeah.
This is where they're going to come good.
We saw last time when they played a Manchester club, it didn't end too well, but a little bit less on that. I'm liking this bet. I do think there could be goals in this game. That's 100%. Why I've backed to the goal scorers.
Well, my bet would come through if that came through. Draw. Both teams score.
Easy.
Desmond.
Now on to Saturday night football in the Premier League. The game of the weekend. West Brom versus Manchester United at Old Trafford. Adam, are you excited for the game?
I am looking forward to having Premier League football back. I don't know for how long I'll be feeling that way during the game, because I know what United can do to me, but I am looking forward to it, yeah, especially at home.
In terms of players that you want to see playing, Donny van der Beek has been in and out of the team, been really good in the Champions League, but not really played enough in the Premier League. Would you start him against West Brom? Is link-up play? Who you take?
Depends who you're taking out. Look, I like Donny van der Beek. I think he's a great signing, and I think he's a fantastic talent. The one thing I like about him, 6 is his ideal position. He can play there. 8, 10, he can play in any of these positions. And when we brought him in, we wanted him in for depth. He's now given us that. I don't feel he's better than Bruno, but I think it offers something a little bit different in maybe his ball retention's a little bit better. Probably he doesn't take as many risks, but that's one of the things that you get. Whether he starts or not, I don't know, because you look at Ollie, he's gone with Fred and McTominay to kind of shore up that defence. You could maybe take one of those out, but I think if you do, you're going to maybe go Pogba. And I don't think it's a major problem with Donny van der Beek. Like, I know Liverpool were in a stronger position. But Fabinho didn't play for a long time under them. Like, you know, Ferran Torres hasn't started every game for City. I think you've got to bed these players in. And I think there's also that, maybe from Ali's side, where if you chuck a new signing into a team that's underperforming, yes, he could potentially drag that team up, but what if that team drags him down? Then what is it going to do for him? He also didn't play since March. So there's so many different things in there that I'm not panicking by it, but I would like to see more of him because I think he's a great footballer. And every time he comes on, he improves the team. And I think that's why United fans are like, well, why isn't he starting? But when he starts, he fizzles out quite quickly. So could it be fitness?
It's an interesting one with the Eredivisie because, again, that's a thing where he's not match fit then to a point.
Because he played in Nations League, was it just before he signed? Around when he signed, he hadn't played any football till then.
It's a long, long time. But I'd quite like to see Donny maybe attacking midfield, Bruno maybe slightly deeper. Try that against a weaker side like a West Brom.
I've been thinking about that with Pogba as well because Bruno, the one thing with Pogba, you don't want him on the edge of your box. He's not very press resistant. If you get a lot of men around him, you're going to have problems. But if you get him further field, it's better. And Bruno has the energy so maybe that is something that could happen.
Well, let's take a look at the bets. Are you back in West Brom for a big win at Old Trafford?
I am not, Dave. I am not.
So you go Manchester United to win the game under -2, handicap, and Martial anytime. So you're backing Anthony Martial to start his season?
It's about time he got a goal, I think. Obviously, you know, I am the president of Martial FC.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to score. He's got to score. I watched the game for him for France. And he looked good. It was just his finishing wasn't quite there. And then you see Giroud start the next game. He gets 2 goals. And it's kind of like, you've got to take your chances. Yeah. But I'm not worried by his form. I think his all-round plays there. He's going to get a goal this weekend.
It's kind of forget that he missed 3 games of suspension. That's going to stop that season as well, the momentum. So no, I quite like that.
And when he has played, he won the penalty in Paris. He won the penalty against Spurs before it all fell apart. He has contributed quite well to the team, and when he doesn't play, you can tell we lack a number 9.
100%. But you don't see Edison Cavani starting this game?
There's been talk about him with COVID. I know he played for Uruguay, but I think he's been around. We don't know what the deal is with that. But again, maybe the same as Donny van der Beek, just a little bit slowly.
Ticking. Let's take a look at my bet. I'm backing Man United as well, but also over 4.5. I want
an
absolute
United.
Banger.
All to United.
6-0.
All right.
6-0 easy. You're looking at Bruno Fernandes. He's scored the most goals since joining Manchester United from midfield. He's got the most assists of any player. Bruno FC, and I think this is going to be a game where we finally see a team ripped apart at Old Trafford.
Oh, please. Well, we've seen one this season in Leipzig, but in the Premier League, it'd be so good, man.
It would be so good.
We need to slap
Let's jump over to free Super Tips Bet Builder as well. It's probably going to go Man United to win. Over 2.5 goals and Fernandes anytime.
It's basically your bet, isn't it?
Basically my bet with a little bit of Bruno on the end. I quite like that. Penalty Bruno Fernandes, even though he scored more non-penalty goals than any of the midfielders since joining the club, Adam. That's a little statistic for you.
That's a nice stat, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'll remember that next time someone brings up that nonsense. I don't mind if he scores penalties, don't score penalties. It was like, I think Pogba, when he got 17 goals, everyone said his penalties, you've got to score them. And there's a reason maybe Martial and Rashford aren't, because they've missed a few.
Now down to London for Fulham versus Everton. Of course, last time out, Scott Parker's men conceded a really late goal and then they missed a really late penalty. I don't really want to be Lookman in that dressing room after that. But in terms of Everton, Carlo Ancelotti's men, they're looking like they are the nearly men of football. They started so well, now 3 defeats in a row. What does Carlo need to do to restart Everton's season?
Get a win, and I think this is the best fixture for them, Fulham. They look like they're going to be the whipping boys of the Premier League this year, which is weird because they've got someone like Mitrovic up top. You'd expect him to be quite a handful for any defence. He hasn't quite got going again. I can't remember which game it was I watched him, but he just missed everything that came to him, and I remember thinking, that's not Mitrovic. Missed a penalty for the Serbia against Scotland. You think, that's not Mitrovic.
Yeah.
So he just looks out of sorts at the moment, and I think that's a big problem for Fulham. I also think Parker's out of his depth. The defence isn't great. Perfect game for them.
It seems like it was a season too early for Scott Parker as a manager, and for the squad is quite poor.
Yeah, but they didn't. I know they kind of got scared of, we spent loads last time and it didn't work, so now we're not going to spend much. You got to kind of find a balance
right?
there, yeah, because you look at their defence and you don't really see anything that says Premier League
quality.
I was thinking Chris Smalling was the one for them in the summer.
Nah,
he
Chris
played for them before.
He's having too much fun in Rome.
I know, but you know, when that deal was on the rocks.
Yeah, no, it's a good
Why
point.
weren't Fulham in there? Because he's been there before. He wouldn't mind living in London. It was a strange one.
Off the back of a very, very good season for Roma as well. No, I like that. Maybe you should be DOF at Fulham, man.
I should.
Your next calling. But let's take a look at the bet that you've built.
I'll be bringing the
for this
Michael
game.
Jackson statue back as well.
So you've gone with Everton to win to 0 and Calvert-Lewin to score any time. I love this bet. Since Ancelotti was appointed as manager, Calvert-Lewin scored more goals, not from penalties,
He's killing it.
in the Premier League. He's
killing it.
It's so nice to see a player just really something clicks.
How about this, Dave?
Go on.
I've been thinking. Remember we were talking about Aguero earlier?
Yeah.
That's his replacement right there.
I thought you were about to say Manchester United could get a Calvert-Lewin, put him on the bench, bring him off the bench, bit of a poacher. But I do like that. Physical, good on the ball.
Can play football with his back to goal.
Yeah.
And he can run in behind, score the headers. It'd be like a throwback to having Dzeko there, but someone that's a little bit of a footballer.
Like
I think he's going to end up at City. Serious.
Very, very nice. Well, let's take a look at my bet. I've got it to a point of Everton draw double chance. Again, Everton. If
You've
James
gone really safe there, Dave.
I have.
Come
I've
on.
proper gone
safe. Man Dave
yeah,
there.
Proper
Come
safe
on.
man Dave. Well, I was just thinking, look, James has had that strange injury. Virgil van Dijk destroyed him low down. That's been a problem for him. And Luka Dean hasn't been flying as much as he was previously when James was fit. So that's why I've kind of gone slightly defensive. But Mitrovic to score any time. If you look at his expected goals in league, he's massively underperforming himself. He's getting the chances and he's not putting the ball in the back of net, like you previously said. That's just stats to back that up. So I think that's a defensive safe bet. Going with that. That's going to be one of the winners this week, I do hope. Let's take a look at free super tips bet as well for the weekend. We've got Everton to win the game, Everton to score in both halves, and Richarlison to score any time. There's crazy stats for Richarlison in terms of when he's playing for Everton, they win.
Killed it for Brazil as well.
Killed it
on
for
the
Brazil as well.
Break.
What do you think of that? Nice.
Yeah, it's a good bet, that. That one would worry me because they didn't play well in the last game. So will they
They
be
need to start
up and running
fast.
straight away? But it's a good bet, that. It's good.
So next up, another must-win for Sheffield United. Seems like that's coming every single week. Sheffield United in very, very poor form in the Premier League this season. 4 goals in 8 games. But West Ham are a bit of a different side. You know, they've negotiated a very tough start to the Premier League, and now Ben Rama's playing for them. How good can he be in the Premier League?
We've seen Adil Tarap do some of the things he did in the Championship. So I don't want to commit too soon to the Ben Rama hype train, but he's a very, very good footballer. And some of the things that he does make you love football. Do you know what I mean? That's why you watch football, like for the megs and the goals and the skills and everything. And I think he's the kind of player that, West Ham fans would have loved if they were in the grounds, but also he could inspire the whole team. And I think Moyes has really done well with West Ham this season, which it surprised me, but I think, like, when you see the way they're playing football, the amount of goals they've scored, defensively they're doing quite well. They lost Mikel Antonio, they still managed to get the result last game. Like, they seem to have a little bit of grit about them, which West Ham haven't had. And I ask you this, Dave, has the fact no fans have been in the stadium helped West Ham? Because their fans are a bit...
Yeah, I'd say 100%. I think that sort of like playing back, I think both teams, fans, massively helped Sheffield United out last season. Going to, away to Sheffield United, very, very difficult. West Ham have always had that bit of a weird vibe there, where the new stadium, the fans don't really like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a very, very good point. Ben Rama as well, the next Dimitri Payet. That's what we're going to talk about in a few weeks.
He did roll through my mind as I was thinking that, but I feel like he's a bit better. Potentially a bit better.
Big shouts. Let's take a look at the bet that you've built, Adam. Have you put him in your bet? No, Sheffield United to win the game and under 2.5.
This was a... Remember when you said earlier, it's got to come at some point,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's a fair point.
Surely they've got to win at some point. And I just feel like Mikel Antonio factor will come into play here, because I think Souček got him out of the game last time. Who did they play last game?
They played Fulham.
Fulham.
Yeah.
Fulham. Sheffield United are better than Fulham.
They are.
They're also much more organised. And I think without that spontaneity of Mikel Antonio up top, I think they'll find it a little bit more difficult to break them down. And therefore, I'll go for a tight Sheffield win.
I do like this. This is very, very good. I've also got that in my bet as well, under 2.5 goals. Sheffield United just do not have anyone that can put the ball in the back of net. They bought Ryan Brewster from Liverpool, a player that did well in the Championship. All their hopes.
What do you reckon about him, Dave?
I think he's a good player. Look, don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player, but you're basically going from a team that plays football in Swansea to a team that kind of defends, and then you're not going to get many chances. It's going to be like he's had one shot on goal.
It was a bad move for him, you think?
I think it was a bad move for him. I think he should have gone to a Brighton. You know, a side that
Or a
plays
Fulham
a bit.
even.
Or, yeah, maybe even a Fulham. Just a side that creates stuff. I think that's been Sheffield United's problem this season. The stat I mentioned before, 4 goals in 8 games is absolutely rubbish. I like that. That is also in my bet as well. But I've gone West Ham.
Ooh.
I do think Souček is what you were talking about before. Aerial threat. I think he can get them out of a lot of sticky situations. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. Maybe the same combination. Ben Rama to Souček. Goal time.
We're going 1-0 either way then?
1-0 either way, absolutely. Let's look at 3 Super Tips bet for this as well. Let's see where they're going down. They've gone for a draw. So we've got it all covered here, guys. And under 2.5 goals, we've done it.
We're going to have at least one winner on the show today, that's for sure.
That is good. We've got one winner. But apart from if the game is a 5-5.
It's going to be 6-6.
Then we're all done. And that's it.
Yeah.
Game over.
No, that makes sense as well. And it's a bit more value.
A little bit tasty.
And, you know, a 0-0 draw, that's covered. 1-1 draw,
That's covered.
covered. Like, it could happen. Like, I think this might be better than both our bets.
On to Sunday, 4:30. It's a Premier League classic. Leeds
Hey.
versus Arsenal.
Oh. This reminds me of, what year was it when we were chasing the title and Leeds beat Arsenal for us? Remember that?
2000.
Was it 99, 2000?
Yeah, maybe.
Was it? I just remember Viduka scoring
And-
in a
and,
blue shirt.
And Harry Kewell as well,
Yeah,
maybe.
in a blue shirt at Highbury. It was, yeah.
I think it was that season.
Yeah.
Very good, good stuff. But Leeds, bit of dodgy form. Lost 4-1 in back-to-back games. Are you worried?
I'm not worried, no. I love to see Leeds lose. I don't know why I'd be worried about Leeds losing. I do think it's, with Bielsa, a lot of people have bought into his philosophies, him as a coach, what he does, which is obviously great. But he's not playing these games for them. And the quality of the players that they have will start to show now. I think in the Championship, good coaching could probably make up for a lot of the levels in quality if they are there. So here, yes, good coaching is going to help, as we saw against. In some of the games, they've looked really good, but they concede a lot of goals. And they concede, when you're conceding that many goals, it's dangerous. I thought they would be safe this season, but I don't think.
I think it's definitely coming to that point where they generally have a little bit of a weakness. You play a long ball into the channel against them, you kind of beat the press. Vardy did it for Leicester City, and I think that's something that teams will look at. Arsenal will look at and think, right, Aubameyang, let's spring it in behind.
And you see the way Arteta plays as well, is I think Leeds will go after them, and that suits Arsenal because they kind of remind me of United at times in that when the expectations on Arsenal to do well, they don't do
struggle.
well. But when the expectations on the other team, and with Leeds being at home, it could cause problems.
Could cause some big problems. Let's take a look at your bet that you've built for this game. You've gone with Leeds to win the game and both teams to score. So you're thinking Arsenal going to lose to Aston Villa, they're going to lose to Leeds. Arteta's going to get sacked?
Not yet. Let him stay in there for a bit more fun. I think that win over United has probably bought him a little bit of time. But I've gone for a few shot results. Obviously, I went for the Newcastle one, and I've gone for the Leeds one.
And Sheffield United.
One of them's going to come out. Like,
you're covering yourself.
Yeah, one of them's going to come through, so I'm giving you the big value here.
No, I like it. I've kind of sat on the fence again, but I've gone with goals.
Okay.
Goals are in my bet.
Goals.
Over 4.5 goals in the match. You're looking at Leeds as a team. So in the Premier League, they're ranked 5th for expected goals in terms of them scoring, but they're 2nd for expected goals against. So they're conceding a lot of shots on their goal. That's why I've gone with 4.5 goals. Bamford any time as well. Leeds in terms of shots in the Premier League, only Tottenham and Liverpool have had more shots. So I think Bamford's the guy that's going to take him. He misses a lot of chances, but then he scores.
I loved his goal against Palace. I know they lost, but
chest
the
and
chest
volley.
and the volley. And he was unlucky not to have another one in that game. So I criticised him. I've not really thought he was a goal scorer, but he's proven a lot of people wrong so far this season.
He's done well. Is he in free super tips bet though this weekend? Let's take a look. We've gone Leeds draw, double chance like that. Both teams score on Bamford anytime. So yes, back in Bamford.
Good value. Good that. I like that. But I think Leeds gonna do him.
So next up, I've got to read you a list. That list, unfortunately, Adam, is Liverpool's injury list. You've got Virgil van Dijk, Fabinho, Joe Gomez, Henderson, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, Thiago and Oxlade-Chamberlain.
I'm not laughing, honest.
What, are they going to be able to get a team out, an 11 out for this game?
Don't want to chuck me some money. I might
Might go down and
go
play
and
for
goal for them. I think Klopp's so good.
That he's going to pull it off.
He's a difference.
Yeah.
He was the difference to Liverpool last season. He's going to be the difference this season. And it isn't last season where you needed to win 35 games to win the league anymore.
Yeah.
You can afford to maybe lose 3 or 4 this season. So I think that will play into their hands as well and probably help them get through till January. But they seem to be having that confidence. But Fabinho being out is a big one because he was someone that could have dropped.
Yeah. Played
Thiago's not there, so then he could have come in. And when Virgil van Dijk initially got injured, you kind of thought, wow, they got Fabinho, they got Thiago, they'll be all right. And now you start to think, actually, Henderson's very important for them as well.
Yeah.
I know I've ridiculed him over the years, but he's very important to what they do. So you might see them struggling a little bit. They might drop points here and there. But over the course of a 38-game season, unfortunately, I think they've got the best manager in the world, so it'll probably help them get through that.
Can't argue with that at all. The big thing, though, obviously Robertson out as well, Trent out, the full strength defence is gone. Jamie Vardy could cause problems. Is Jamie Vardy in your bet that you've built for this game?
Jamie Vardy's having a party.
Absolutely having a party, scoring any time in Leicester to win the game. No, look, I do actually like that because you've got to look at this Liverpool team and the strength. All the players that you mentioned there, they are like world-class talents, and they're gone. We're looking at Curtis Jones is probably going to play central midfield, a very good young player.
He did well. Was it Phillips as well?
So Phillips apparently is injured as well.
Oh, bloody hell, everyone's injured.
Everyone's gone.
Jurgen Klopp injured?
He's
be available?
Apparently available at the moment.
Right.
But again, we've got to be tested and we may pull a hammy. But I do like that bet. Again, Vardy against a team that's not kind of ready for it.
He's going to be having extra Red Bull as well.
Yeah.
Off he's going to be ready.
He
didn't have an international break.
Rested,
fit. Maddison getting back to fitness. They look good. Tielemans got a great goal against England. What a signing he was, by the way.
Too right. Absolutely
they've got such a good team that
it's not looking good. Let's take a look at my bet. I've gone the other way. I'm going to back Liverpool because of their front three. They still have Firmino, they still have Mane, and they've still got Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota, what a signing he was as well. 40-odd million, bargain. But I think Mane, for me this season, although Salah's got the headlines, got the goals, got the assists, he's kind of been their threat. When he picks up the ball, you think, something's going to happen here. Something's going to go down. Obviously, his partnership with Robertson's been really good at left-back, which isn't going to be there. But I still think, I think I'm just backing Jurgen Klopp in this game. But I could easily see Leicester City to
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like I said, giving you value.
Absolute value.
Leicester are going to win. I don't know. Leicester, could it be Leicester's season? Brendan Rodgers? I think this Leicester team is better than the Leicester team that won the league.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a point. And I think that the league is so open that if Rodgers can... The thing with him is he's a bottle job. That we've seen that with the Champions League, with the winning the league with Liverpool, there is a bit of a creak in him when...
But has there been enough time in between then? And Leicester, although they've won the league recently, they don't have the expectations of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So they don't have that, the whole city, every time you're walking around the city and you say, you better win us the league. Or, you don't have that kind of feel. You still have that feel-good factor. And Claudio Ranieri, towards the end of it, I remember when they were like, we're not winning the league, we're just here to have a good time and that. And you feel Brendan Rodgers could get through doing that and make a late push for it.
So it just needs to be a little bit more fun, like Ranieri. Take them to go and get pizza and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at free super tips.
Get your dilly ding donga or whatever it's called.
Going to go for over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score, Vardy and Jota. So basically, back in the goals. With Liverpool's defence, not a bad bet.
Oh yeah, that's a good bet because if it goes a draw, win,
got it all covered.
You got it all covered. Like you said earlier, he's been a very good signing, man. He's been. And you said cheap at 40 million, but when they paid 40 million, everyone said 40 million for Jota. Wolves have got a good deal.
Well, we were all very, very wrong. Burnley versus Palace up next. Adam, are you in your happy place?
Turf Moor, happy place.
Happy
Turf Moor, that's not my happy place. We're usually very cold there. Like draw or something like that.
Not
so
good.
It's not a happy place.
Let's just dive straight into the bet. I don't think there's much to talk about this game. I don't think it's going to be a corker.
There's no internet in Burnley either,
No internet in Burnley. That's something hopefully that we can sort out over the coming months. Palace to win and also under 2.5 goals. So it's not going to be a great game.
Yeah, Turf Moor isn't going to be a happy place for Burnley. Crystal Palace, I think They're looking good. I love, what's his name, Eze.
Yeah.
He's such a good footballer. He plays with a smile on his face. And I think he's the kind of person that Wilfried Zaha needs around him. You've had AU who does a lot of the leg work for them. And I think that's really good. But another person where, you know, you can't now get 2-3 men on Zaha if Eze is playing, because you've got him there as well who can do similar things. So I think he's a great signing, and I think the expectation being on Burnley could play into Palace's hands, and Palace will get the win.
Nice. I've gone for the big result, the 0-0 full time.
You've gone for a Rory.
I've gone for an absolute, classic here. Only Sheffield United, Burnley, and Newcastle have had fewer shots in the league than Palace, and this is Palace versus Burnley, two of the most shot-shy teams in the league. I just think this has got draw all over it.
Has it?
I've just got a feeling. Let's take a look at free super tips. Are they back
Burnley,
in the draw? Are they back in Palace? They've gone Palace draw double chance, so they're covering both of our bets. Under 2.5 goals, I think that is very, very, a good bet. Most goals in second half. Again, the game to open up as it goes forward. Burnley to put more strikers on the pitch. I like the look of that.
Yeah, because Palace as well, they won't go there looking to open up straight away. Probably see it safe till half time and then go for it.
Simple as you like. And finally, Wolves versus Southampton. Wolves lost 1-0 to Leicester City last time out, and Southampton beat Newcastle. Let's dive straight into the bets. Adam, what have you gone with this game?
Wolves win. Both teams to score.
Like it.
This is possibly the most difficult one of the day in terms of putting the bet together, because Hasenhüttl was doing very, very well with Southampton. The kind of two teams that are in a similar place at the moment, so it was hard to go. But I think Danny Ings not being there, Jimenez being there, could make the difference, and I'd go for Wolves to snatch it.
My bet is quite similar to that in the vibe of, I think, Wolves, just because of what you mentioned there. But I also think Che Adams anytime could be quite interesting.
Once he's got his goals now, he's looking confident, isn't he? And the goal he took the other week, oh, what a goal that was. Yeah.
I just think Southampton will create chances. So he will have them. And also 40-1 coming in, under 3.5 goals in the game. That's a madness. That is the wild bet of this weekend, of course. Gamble responsibly if you're going to follow this bet builder that I built. I don't know how I did that. But let's take a look at free super tips. See what their bet is today. They're going for a match result draw. Jimenez anytime. Both teams to score, yes. Slightly different, a little bit more
score draw with Jimenez to score. I like that. But I still got a feeling for Wolves at home. They'll do it.
So we have built those bets. We are now the bet builders on free super tips.
Told you I'm the bad boy bet builder, didn't I?
That's the one you're going for. Adam, thank you for coming today. Where can the people find you online?
Adam McKola TV, Stretford Paddock. We have taken over and we are in charge.
Absolutely. Go and check Adam out on all those platforms. Of course, if you're going to follow any of our bets, please gamble responsibly. And we'll see you next time for Game Week 10 on Bet Builders.